What's going on, everybody? This is Jay from Maji and Jay. Today in this video we're going to be unboxing, installing and reviewing my new car stereo for the Toyota 4Runner 2013. If you guys saw my previous video about the Ufone Beat Touch number 2, I mentioned that I did replace my Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012 after having many issues with it. First of all, my rack and pinion went out. A few weeks later my alternator went out, and then I also had some issues with the fuel pump. So I said, well, this vehicle only has about 25,000 miles and it's already giving me so many issues, so I just decided to trade it in for the Toyota 4Runner 2013. Now again, I did choose the basic model. That's because they actually make a lot of money when they give you things like the navigation system. You would pay thousands of dollars just to get that upgrade, and when I saw the operating system that was inside of their unit, I said this is not worth it. I can just get myself a radio and it'll be much better off like that, because this one is only $380, and I got it from Amazon Prime and it got here within 2 days, and it's actually a very good price because I checked it on eBay and the price was about $797. So when I saw that deal, I purchased it, but as you guys can see, there is some assembly required. We don't have the vents here this time. We had to remove that from the bezel that the Toyota 4Runner has right now, as well as the metal button here, which is for the intermittent lights, also known as emergency lights. And then we also got here the little wheels so that we can block the vents. That also needs to be installed on here. Now I did test this unit already and I took it out of the box because it was just humongous, and I already installed it because when I had my Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012, I did purchase a radio that didn't work and I wasted a lot of time. I started the video, I started doing the editing and all that, and then when the testing time came up, the radio wouldn't come on. So now here you guys can notice that I have it on this wrapper. Let me go ahead and remove it. That way I can give you an overview of how this radio looks with a lot more details. Alrighty guys, now that we got this removed out of that plastic, here we can see it with a lot more details. On the front we're going to have an 8-inch display, this time with a resolution of 800 by 480. And I believe that it is not IPS because the viewing angles do look a little bit distorted, but at least for the most part it looks very nice. I already tested it like I mentioned earlier, and it is working like a charm. I was very impressed to see that this one has a lot more brightness than the one that I got for the Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012. The brand on this one is Seska, but I believe that Ionon, Seska, and all those brands are actually made by the same factory, so they just name it differently, I guess. I don't know really why, but they put different brands, but again, the factory is going to be exactly the same. Here we can see some of the buttons that we had supported. First of all, we got the radio button, we had the disc button, so we can enable here the top CD slot, and it's going to support DVD and also CDs. We got the mute button, we have the navigation button, and then this is the SD card slot in case we have our own music and we want just to save it on the memory card. We can do so, and to open this, all you have to do is just push it in from the left side, and here we can see that SD card slot. Very cool. Then we also got the seek button. Now this is also going to be in case you guys want to forward the music or just skip it. You can use these two buttons as well. We got the scan, we got the EQ, and then finally we got the GPS SD card slot. Now this is not to be touched, guys. Once you get your GPS files on here, you just leave that SD card on there. Unless you're getting a map update, then you can just take it out, connect it to your computer, and do whatever updates you need to do. On the bottom here, we're going to find the microphone. We also got the IR blaster, and then we got these two main buttons. One of them is for the volume/power, and then the other one is for the audio tune. So everything here is very simplistic, and it looks exactly the same as the original. These are aftermarkets, but I was very impressed to see that this one has much better quality than the one that I got from my Jeep Grand Cherokee. So here we're going to go ahead and take a look at the manuals, and here we can see that they come in English. They are very well detailed, but I didn't have to read it because everything is very self-explanatory when installing this radio, and I'll be telling you why in just a moment. So here we can see also that we got a stylus as well. This is very nice. Also inside of the box, it came with this whole bunch of wires, And some of them are only for accessories. Most of them are not going to be applicable for a lot of people, because this is only, again, if you're installing a radio system or whatever the case may be. So this is one of the auxiliary ports that we have in case you guys want to connect, let's say, cameras or audio system and so on, then you will hook this up. But in my case, I don't need to use it. We also got this one, which is for the antenna. Now, weirdly, this is only for certain Toyotas that use a different antenna connector, but mine has the regular one, so I may not need to use this. But it's always great to see that it came included with it in case you guys have a different connection. Here we have some more wires in case you guys want to adapt, let's say, some screens on the back, on the headrest, and so on. Then you can use this wire here. Again, this is not applicable for me. I'm only going to use 2 wires out of all this right here. The next one we have, let me see, this one is for the USB cable, I believe. And yes, it is. As we can see here, we have the female connector, and this goes in the back of the radio. Now, if you want to install this, you will have to drill a hole on the plastic of your Toyota 4Runner, which I don't recommend. But yes, we do have this wire also. Let's see what else we got on here. We also got this wire in case you guys want to connect the rear facing camera in your vehicle. I might use this in the future because this one didn't come with a rear view camera, but it's always great to have it. And this is going to activate once your vehicle is in reverse. So that's very, very cool. The next wire we have here is actually going to be the harness, the main harness, which is going to provide power to your radio. This one goes directly into the radio, then this one goes directly into your Toyota. In my case, the only ones that I needed to use were these two. All these you can just disregard. This is only if you guys are installing amplifiers, subwoofers, and so on. So in my case, I didn't need to use it. The main 2 connectors are going to be these right here, and some of them again are for the power, and the other ones are going to be for the speaker connection. So that's very nice. Also, we got here another wire, and this one is for some sort of TV system of some kind. It comes with a whole bunch of wires, guys, that I really don't know some of them what they are for, but you guys can maybe help me out with this one, because this one seems a little bit confusing. I'm assuming that this is something for the ignition. From what I can see here, one of them is for power, as you guys can see right there. So again, I'm not sure what this one is for, but it looks like it's important, so I might keep it around just in case. We also have here this wire harness, and this one is very important because this one is going to enable your steering wheel controls. So far you're going to need 2 main ones in order to get this thing power on. It's going to be the one on my right. This is the one with the 2 connectors. This here is going to provide, again, the power and also the speaker connections. And then this one is going to connect all the buttons that are in your steering wheel on the radio, so that way you can use them while driving and so on. So yes, just keep that in mind, guys. See what else we got on here. We also got some more auxiliary cables, as you can see here, but I'm not going to use this. I already tested it myself. We have something also very important. This is going to be your GPS antenna, just as we saw on the Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012. So you guys had to also install this, and it's going to be on the upper side of the dashboard, so that way you get the best signal possible. And then finally, we're going to have a remote controller. The remote controller is very similar to the one that I got on the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Let me go ahead and take this out of the wrapper. And then here we can see that yes, it is simplistic, but it's also very cool to have it. And I believe that it comes already installed with a battery. I'm not sure yet. Let me go ahead and check. And no, this one doesn't have the battery, but I do have a spare battery around here. So here we can see that it's a very cool remote controller. We have the enter button in the middle, and it seems like it's very comfortable to use. Okay guys, and that's it for the accessories. And now what we're going to do next is go ahead and jump into the 4Runner so that we can get this baby installed. Alright guys, and now here we are approaching my Toyota 4Runner 2013, and I do apologize that it is currently a little bit dirty. It's been very rainy here in Florida, at least in the summertime. So here we can notice that we got the base rims. This is just the SR5, so nothing too fancy here. Let me go ahead and get inside of the vehicle, that way you guys can see the interior. And here we can see everything that we have. I think it looks a little bit nicer than my Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012. This one has about 52,000 miles. I know it's a little bit, I would say, too much for 2013, but I got a great discount, and this is that base radio that we got. We see that it's nothing fancy, even though it does have Bluetooth. The sound is pretty okay. Let me go ahead and increase the volume. So that you guys can hear it. It is just a 5-speed transmission. The engine is a 4.0 liter. Unlike my Jeep Grand Cherokee, it was a 3.6, so this one has a little bit more kick to it. On the top is displaying the temperature, the time, and all that good information. So now guys, let's get at it. Alrighty, and now before we get started with the unassembly of this vehicle, the first thing I would like to mention is that we have to turn off the radio. We don't want to cause any shortage or any problems with the vehicle, including a check engine light. When I did unassemble my Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012, it did cause a check engine light. That's because this is equipped with anti-theft technology, so sometimes the vehicle may turn off, sometimes the vehicle may just do crazy things, including the alarm may come on. So just to avoid that, I would just recommend turning off the radio. In this case, when I did unassemble it before to test the radio that I just purchased, I didn't have to turn it off completely and the AC was on. That's great, because on my previous vehicle, which was the Jeep, I did have to turn off the AC because the controls needed to be removed. In this case, it's not the same. It's actually very similar to the Jeep unassembly, but this one actually is a little bit tougher in build. That's what I like about this vehicle, that the build quality is tremendous. The plastics feel very, very nice and sturdy. Now here, the first thing you guys need to do is, again, go ahead and turn off the radio. Once that's completed, now we're going to move on towards the bottom side of the vehicle so I can show you exactly what needs to be removed. On the bottom side of this dashboard, we're going to see two panels here. They are removable. That's the great news. Now, when I started to do this, I unassembled a lot of things that I didn't have to do, including here the transmission area assembly. I removed it thinking that it was part of the disassembly, but that wasn't the case. And the reason I became so confused on how to take this apart is because there are no tutorials online, neither on YouTube, on how to complete this. I believe I am one of the first guys to actually unassemble the 2013 model of the Toyota 4Runner, so I'm very excited to do that. So here guys, like I said, we had to remove these two side panels in order to access this control part of the AC. Again, we don't need to disconnect it, neither we need to take these apart. It comes out very easily, but you guys can purchase a pry opening tool. The reason I don't like to use pry opening tools is because you can scratch these plastics very easily, so I just decided to use my arms. Make sure that if you guys are using your hands, make sure that they're not too sweaty, because it's going to be very slippery. If they are, just go inside, wash your hands, make sure that they're dry and that they're not slippery. Otherwise, it's going to be almost impossible to take this thing out. So I already took it out, so it might be a little bit easier for me, but when I first started, it was actually very hard. The clips were brand new, and there are no screws in this side, so all you have to do is just go ahead and put some pressure. So you guys can see I am pushing from the side. Sometimes it's better to open this compartment, that this little drawer compartment, so that way you can access better here on the side, as you guys can see. So right now I am pushing it towards the outside. It is very, very complicated at the beginning, but don't worry guys, it's coming out slowly. So in this case, it's coming out together with the controls for the AC on the middle. That's not supposed to happen. This is going to be individualized, as you guys can see. So here we got the first part out. We're going to do exactly the same procedure for the right side, and this is an example. Right now I just scratched it right there. So this is why you guys want to be careful, and also not using pry opening tools, because you can scratch it very easily. The paint on this is very, very thin. So let me go ahead and set this aside. And now we're going to remove the right side of this panel. So let me go ahead and push it out. There we go. This one was a little bit easier. And these are the clips that we have right behind it, as you guys can notice here. So there are about 4 clips, actually, yes, 5 clips actually. We have one here, 2 on the top, and then 2 on the bottom. So there we go, we got the other part removed. Now this middle control comes out individually. You guys don't need to touch the ones on the side. They are okay to stay on there. What you need to do is, if your door is not open on the bottom, you need to open it slightly a bit, so that way you can get your fingers underneath here, likewise. And then what you're going to do is just pull it towards you. But now guys, be gentle because there are wires connected to this. If you guys are too rough, you might run the risk of breaking one of the wires. So like I said before, the great news is that you don't need to disconnect the wires on the back. It's not required. So that gives you the chance to leave your AC on while your vehicle's on as well. So now the next step will be to remove some screws that we have underneath here. As you guys can see, we have 2 on this side, and then we have 2 on this side. So there is a metallic bracket holding the radio in place. That is to provide extra support because this unit is actually very heavy, and for that you guys are going to need a 10mm socket with an extension. Likewise, so you guys are going to need one of these in order to get that removed. So let me get that done. And now that we got to remove the 4 bolts on the bottom, you guys want to place them on a secure place. You don't want to misplace these because we might need them on the new radio. Even though I noticed that the holes on the new radio are a little bit different, we might have to adjust it a little bit so that it works. Because again, these are supports in case your vehicle, let's say, gets into a puddle. All that weight, all that shakiness may cause your bezel to break here because of the weight of it. So those brackets are very important. Now I have to make sure that they will fit the new radio. I'm not sure yet, it might be a little bit different. But yes guys, with those bolts removed, now we're ready to pull out the radio. To pull out this radio is actually very simple and also a little bit tricky. You guys must start from the top. In this case, you have to grab it with your own hands, and then what you're going to do is just pull it towards you, and you're going to see that it's going to be a little bit tight at the beginning, but just keep pulling. And here you guys can see that right now the whole thing came out. So if you start from the top, it's a lot easier than going from the bottom. So now let me go ahead and put this down so that way we can access the wires on the back, and I'll show you guys exactly what you need to disconnect. Alrighty guys, and now here we have all the wires that need to be removed on the back. As you guys can see, it's a few of them. You must make sure that you press on the clip. It's actually very simple to do so. Unfortunately, I cannot multitask in this case because I'm holding my camera. But here first we have the antenna wire. Then we got some of the wires for the steering wheel. We have some of the wire for the power on this unit and so on. You must make sure that you remove all of them. The clips are very easy. Let me see if I can actually start here by removing the first one. And there is a clip on the upper side, or actually on the side of this particular one. All you have to do is just press it and it comes right off. The same thing goes here with the blue one. You guys can notice the clip is right on top, so if you press it, pull it, it's going to be very easy to do so. And the same thing goes here with all of them. Right now I am able to remove them holding the camera, so I am impressed here. I do apologize if the focus is not perfect guys. It's really tough to get back here right now, so what I might do is go ahead and fast forward the video. Okay guys, and now we got the radio removed. It was a little bit tough to get some of the wires disconnected on there. Now this is going to be the next important part. You guys need to make sure that you keep this bezel inside of your vehicle because we are going to remove the vents and also the intermittent button here. This is also known as the emergency flashing lights. Here we have those wheels that I talked about earlier, and something that I noticed from the new bezel and the older bezel is that this one has black trims around here. The new one is all the same color, so it's going to be a little bit different, but I truly don't mind. Also, this black plastic on the top needs to be removed. The great news is that they come already with some Phillips screws. I don't know if you guys can see there. We have one Phillips screw, then we got the next Phillips screw right there, so you have to make sure that you remove these two in order to remove the black plastic on the top. And then the same thing goes here for the remaining of this bezel. We can see that we have some screws here on the bottom, so you guys need a Phillips screwdriver to complete this. So here you're going to notice all the wires that we have, and the ones that we are going to need is the antenna wire. So we don't need that adapter that came with the radio. This is just going to be going directly into the radio, which is great. We're also going to need this wire right here. This one is for the power source. We're going to need this connector. This is for the speakers. And then finally we're going to need this one here. This one is for the steering wheel controls, and the other ones you guys can disregard them. This one is for the Sirius XM. This one here, I'm not sure exactly what this is for, but it is on there. I'm assuming that this is maybe for something upside here. I'm not sure yet, but yes, we don't need this wire right now, so all of these are going to be set aside in just a moment. For now, let me grab the new radio so that way we can transfer all the parts from the old bezel into the new bezel. Now that we have everything unassembled out of the old bezel, you guys can see that I have removed the vents, I have removed the middle button, which is very easy to do so. There are some parts that you guys are not going to need from the old bezel, including this black piece right here. This goes on the little wheel that blocks the vent from spitting air. So we are not going to need this, and I'm about to show you that here in just a moment. So everything is one piece on the new bezel. So here we can see it, guys, that everything is one piece. So all we had to really install is just that little blocker. And as you guys can see, everything is fitting perfectly well. Here we have the vent, and then we're still missing one vent. I have already installed the middle button here for the flashing lights. Now let me go ahead and flip this around. So here we have the next vent, and this is how it looks like. So this comes already with the wheel. So all you guys have to do is just put it on top, and then you're gonna hear a whole bunch of clips. There we go. And it is that easy, guys. So right now we have this almost fully assembled. The upper black side here, the black plastic, does require the 2 screws that are included on the old bezel. So make sure that you guys don't throw those away, and don't throw any screws. Actually, you want to keep the old bezel just in case you ever need them. And then here we just have to transfer the wire that is on the old bezel behind it. This wire right here is attached right now to the radio on the bracket that I mentioned to you guys earlier. So we had to remove those bolts, and they are Phillips, so you don't need to worry about getting a ratchet or anything like that. So yes, we had to remove that wire so that the button works perfectly well. So let me go ahead and get that completed, guys. Now, after removing the brackets out of the old radio, I have installed them here into the new radio. Now, the only thing I noticed, guys, is that I can only install 2 bolts, which is more than enough. The third bolt does have something in there. It looks like a metal that is keeping me away from installing it, so I don't want to damage anything inside of the radio. So for that reason, I just decided to put 2 on there. And this is the left-hand side of the radio, looking at it from the back. And here we can see that wire. This is for the emergency flashers. So you guys don't have to remove it out of this bracket. And now we're going to install the right side bracket. And now that we have transferred all the parts, the bezel is ready to be installed. And this time you guys can notice here what I told you before, that the previous bezel had this parts right here in black. So everything was matching like one piece, but I do prefer this method a lot more. It looks, I would say, nicer. So we got the buttons installed, we got the vents installed together with the wheels, which come together with the vents, so we don't have to worry about installing this separately. Just don't forget, guys, that you need to connect that wire from the back like I mentioned before. Let me go ahead and flip this around. It's a little bit heavy. Here we see those brackets, and I was only able to install 2 screws out of the 3. Just keep that in mind. You don't want to install the third one on there, because you guys can see there is a little metal piece that I really don't know what it is, and that could damage the radio, so don't risk it. 2 bolts is more than enough. Make sure that you tighten them very well. And the same thing goes for the other side. I was only able to install 2 screws. On the back here, we're going to see some of the connectors. This is the GPS connector right there. This is only for the USB cable if you guys want to install it. In my case, I won't do it. This is for the TV antenna, so I'm not going to use that either. Then we got here the main connector for the power and also the speaker connections. We had the blowing fan, so make sure that this wire doesn't get on the way, because then it's going to overheat and you might damage your unit. Also, I forgot to mention that you need to remove the 2 screws that come on the top. They are covered by a red sticker, and I have already removed them, so make sure that you guys do that before you even start the installation. Then here we have some more connectors in case you guys need to hook up amplifiers and so on. In my case, I'm only going to use 2 of them. It's going to be these 2 here on the left hand side, and that's about it. And then finally we got here the connection for the antenna for the FM AM radio, and that's pretty much it, guys. So now let me go ahead and show you here the wiring harness. One of the first wires that we're going to connect is the one responsible for the steering wheel controls, and it's actually very basic. You're going to see this wire right here, and this is the one that goes directly in here, so make sure that you guys don't get confused. This one is for the speakers. We're going to get to this in just a moment. And then this one is for the power. and also for other functions, like every time you turn on your headlights, the buttons will turn on with this connector right here. So let me go ahead and get this one connected. It's a little bit hard holding the camera, guys, I have to admit, and connecting this at the same time, but I think it's possible, and I just made it possible. So there you can see it. It goes in with no issues whatsoever, so that's perfectly great. And these two are going to go in the radio. I'll be demonstrating that in just a moment. For right now, let me just grab the next wiring harness, which is the one that I have right here. And this one, like I said before, guys, is the one responsible for all the powering, and this one here is responsible for the speakers. So you have to make sure that you connect both of these. Now these extra wires, you guys don't need to worry about it unless you are connecting an amplifier or a subwoofer. Then you will use these right here so that it connects with the ignition. Every time you guys turn off your vehicle, your amplifier will go off as well, together with your subwoofer and so on. So here, let me go ahead and connect it to the vehicle. That way we can get this done. And we're going to have total about 5 connections at the end. So I think on the Jeep Grand Cherokee, we only had about 4. So this time it requires a little bit more. Now the cool part about this radio, guys, is that we don't need a CAN bus. The CAN bus sometimes can cause issues, so Toyota likes to keep it very simple. And maybe that's why they are so reliable, because sometimes all this new technology, you know, when it's the first generation of a vehicle, they can cause a lot of electronic problems and so on. So again, this is going to be connected directly into the radio, as well as these 2 wires. And then we're also going to have the antenna wire. So actually we do have 4 connections this time. Unless you guys are doing something extra, then you can do it. I would say it's not needed, but if you guys want to install an amplifier, whatever the case may be, then you have to do it on your own. I'm just showing you guys here the basics on how to install just the radio and make it work on the Toyota 4Runner 2013. So now let me grab the radio. I might have to place the camera on the tripod so that way I can show you exactly how to connect it. And something that I almost forgot to mention is that we need to connect and also install the GPS antenna, otherwise your reception may not work. So for that, I found this little opening on the side of the vent. You don't want to put it on the middle, because the thing is that this thing gets humid and you might damage your antenna. So for that reason, you might want to go inside and then just try to get it as close as you can to the windshield. In my case, I didn't have to unwrap the whole thing, because then you're going to make a big mess. Just try to keep it organized. And then of course, this bolt here will be connected into the radio, and I'll be showing you guys that in just a moment. So for right now, let me just go ahead and get this inserted in here. Well guys, now that I got everything installed, here you can see the GPS antenna, and what I did, actually I placed it on the right side instead of the left side. I found a little bit of I would say a great opening in there so that I could get it on the top of the dash. That way I can make sure that I get the best signal reception. And then after that, I connected the basic connections that we got, which one of them is for the steering wheel controls. Then we got the one for the flashing lights. Make sure that you don't forget this one. And then finally we got the main connector for the power and also the speakers. And I'm not sure if this is spinning already, but I think the fan is spinning, so it actually came on and everything's working perfectly well. That's the next thing you guys want to make sure, that your stereo is working perfectly well. And here we can see it. As a matter of fact, I already tested a station. Let me go ahead and increase the volume here briefly. So yes, everything is set to go, guys. The next thing we had to do is just make sure that we put all these wires to where it's not going to intervene with the stereo itself. Then we just install it. We're going to install the bracket screws, and that's going to be pretty much it. So let me go ahead and get that completed. And now that we got the radio in place, don't forget that you have to install the screws on the bottom to hold the bracket in place, and also make sure that none of the wires are hanging like this one right here. If it is, just make sure you guys hide it in there so that it doesn't get pinched with anything. Well guys, and now we got everything installed on here, so the next thing will be to actually test it and make sure that everything is working perfectly well. Make sure that you're getting a signal for the stereo and so on. Also make sure that all the buttons are working perfectly well, in which I'm going to show them to you in just a moment, so that way we can see that everything is functioning. Make sure that your AC is functioning well, that nothing came off. Make sure that everything is properly placed, and as you guys can notice, everything is properly placed right now. It was a very easy installation. You guys just need a lot of patience. I would say the part that takes the longest is transferring all these vents and buttons from the old stereo into the new stereo. And like I said before, guys, on the unboxing earlier today, what I like about the stereo is that we can see that right now is daylight time and the brightness is not affected by it. On the one that I got for the Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012, the brightness was very low all of the time. Here I'm just going to show you briefly, guys, that we got, of course, the radio, which is what I have right now. You can also click on the radio logo right there, and it'll take you directly to the main menu where you can set up many things. You can hook up the TV, in which I don't have the antenna for it. You can also connect your iPod, which is that USB connector. Now this is Bluetooth capable, so we don't need to hook it up to the iPod, or at least I believe so. Let me go back here. Right now we have it on custom for the audio, but let me go back into the main menu. So here we can see also we got DVD, we have Bluetooth itself, which is very self-explanatory. When you click on it, it's going to give you here the option to set it up, and this is how your phone is going to read it. The passcode is 1234, and this brand is actually Casca. So there we can see it. We have history for the calls. You got phone keys, so you can of course make phone calls. And again, this is your microphone. This is very cool because we have it on the passenger side, or actually I'm sorry, on the driver's side. So that's going to make it very easy for you to speak and people listen to you on I would say a lot clearer. Then we finally got here music. That's in case you guys want to play your music on the phone. You're going to listen it of course on the radio. We got the IR blaster and so on. So yes, that's very cool. We got here disc. This is going to support DVDs like I mentioned earlier, and also CDs. So all you have to do is turn them on the top and then it'll play it for you. We got the mute button. We also got the navigation button. Now in this case, it's going to be exactly the same as the one that we had on the Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012. So that's working perfectly well. Let's go back here into the radio. Then we got here the seek. This is so that we can change tracks, or if you're playing, let's say, a DVD, this is to go forward and also backwards. We got the scan button for the stations. It's going to do it automatically for you. Then we have the EQ. The EQ is just to change the sound mode. So if I press on it once more, it's going to change into rock, classic, jazz, flat, and custom. Custom is in case that you guys want to do your own. All you have to do is just click on radio, then that'll take you to the main settings. You go into setup, then you go into audio, and you can change here the way that you guys want it. Normally I like my treble to be a little bit higher than usual. The mids, I'll just leave it the way it is. The bass, I'll also leave it the same way it is. So everything else I'm just gonna leave it stock. We got the clock so you guys can set it up. Then we got here the controls for the steering wheel. Now getting here to the steering wheel controls, you guys have to press here on the right icon when you go into settings, or actually setup. You click controls, then you click here. Now you guys are going to notice that it gets I would say a little bit confusing because it says here test and you don't know how to calibrate your steering wheel controllers, but it's actually very easy. First of all, you click on test, and then it'll say press steering wheel control, right? So what you have to do is, let's say you want your volume plus to be, let's say here, this button. You click on it, and then it'll ask you to choose the function. So I want that function to be volume plus. And then the next thing you would do for the next button, now you want your volume down. So I want this to be my volume down. And now it'll ask you what you want your volume down on the steering wheel to do. So I want it to decrease the volume. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying here, but it's actually very easy. The next one would be to press the skip button. For that, I want my arrows this time. So I will just choose the skip button to be this one here. And again, it'll ask you to confirm what you want that button to do. The next one is the arrow down. I want that to be the skip, or to go back to a music. So you click on it and now you press on it, and so on, guys. The mode button is very easy. I want that to be this button right here. So when you press on it, it'll ask you choose the function. So that's my mode. Then we got the mute. Now the mute is a little bit tricky. I would just choose that one to be this right here. So it'll ask you to confirm. There we go. Now we got the answer and refuse. That's also very easy. So what we're gonna do is press on the answer button, and now you want it to confirm what the function is going to be. That's going to be for when you guys are getting phone calls and whatnot. And then finally we got the refuse button. So you press it, and now you confirm, and then that should be pretty much it. So let me go ahead and try that one more time. There we go. It says here training is over. So everything has been completed. The next thing you do is you click on done, and everything's good to go. We got here the system. We can turn on and off the beep every time we click on the action screen. In this case, I'm just going to turn it off. And we can see, guys, that even though it came with a stylus, we don't need it. It's going to be a capacitive touchscreen, and it's working actually perfectly well. So once you're done with the settings, you're good to click on the X button, and it's going to take you back to the radio. To go to the main settings, again, you had to click on this icon on the upper left hand side corner. So if I click that again, I believe it'll take me directly to the radio. Let me see. Actually, no, you had to click back on the radio. And to go back, you click on radio, and it'll take you here to the main settings. We have satellite. This is for other type of connections. We got the rear facing cam, so that every time you put the vehicle in reverse, you can see what you have behind you. So that's very, very cool. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. We don't have, you know, anything super special here, but what I like about it is that we do have navigation system. We also got Bluetooth capabilities and so on, and that was something that I was looking forward to. So I think this is much better than the stock radio, and the sound quality is actually very, very good. I would say it's about the same as the stock radio. The only thing that the stock radio, you know, doesn't have the touchscreen, doesn't have that great experience that we get. And to be honest, it makes your vehicle look a little bit fancier. So if you guys think that this video was helpful, please don't forget to click on that like button. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next one.